From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now, or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. This strategy of assassination is familiar to cultures across the planet throughout the ages. I mean, just from John Wilkes Booth, that's a famous US-based assassin, right? He assassinated then President Abraham Lincoln. From that guy all the way back to the ancient days with people like Locusta the Poisoner, you don't have to look very far, very deep to find historical records of assassins. There's a book, I guess I'll just hold it up. We'll do a little disturbing reading rainbow here. I don't know if you guys can see this.
Is that a Caravaggio on the cover? I love that image.
Let's see, is it?
I think it is. But either way, it's one of those classic, like it looks like the cover of a Joy Division album. It's like this person dead in the bath with their arm kind of draped over the side. That classic, I believe it's Impressionist, but it's, Caravaggio would be a great example. Really high definition, super moody and very kind of eerie image. I love those types of paintings.
That's right. The Encyclopedia of Assassinations, available at any arcane bookstore near you.
Right, by Carl Sifficus. This explores both attempted and successful assassinations throughout human history. And interestingly enough, it lists several cases, such as that of Dag Hammarskjöld.
What a name, by the way.
Yeah, it's a cool name. It lists that case as an assassination, but that still has not been officially confirmed as such, even though the U.S. president at the time, Dag Hammarskjöld, was in charge of the UN when he died in a mysterious airplane accident. We have an old YouTube video on that. But the point is, this book is pretty old, but these cases of assassination, because of the controversy, they remain very touchy subjects for a long, long time. And so today in the first part of our series, we wanted to ask, where did this come from? Where does the concept of an assassin actually originate? Here's where it gets crazy. Assassin isn't some dramatic, exotic word some hack writer invented to just sort of juzz up an otherwise depressing murder story.
That's right. It's IP from Ubisoft.
It's IP from Ubisoft, right? In fact, the term assassin refers to an all too real, all too conspiratorial organization from ancient history. It's an honest-to-God secret society. Let's call it the Order of Assassins.
Ooh. Oh my God. Wait, you're saying it's real? That's what we're saying. The Order of Assassins is real.
Or was, yeah.
No.
Well, we're not saying Assassin's Creed should be considered a playable documentary. Although there's a lot of great historical research in there. We're saying there was a real group. We don't know a ton about them. This is something that you'll always run into when you're looking at controversial institutions in ancient history. The Fortress of the Assassins, and they did have a real fortress, was conquered in 1256 CE. And when they were conquered, the castle was razed, essentially. Their library was destroyed. So we have no written historical records about the assassins from the assassins themselves. Still, we do know some things.
That's right. Between 1090 and 1275, a small Nizari Ismaili sect high in the mountains of Persia and Syria went into the murder for hire business. The assassins were an offshoot of the Ismaili sect of Shia Islam, and it was founded by Hassan-i-Sabah, who referred to his followers as, Assasiyun, Asasiyyun, with some underscore characters over the A and the U. And that means people who are faithful to the foundation of faith. And they had this stronghold fortress called Alamut Castle that was about 130 miles from what is today known as Tehran.
Wow. That's real. I mean, it's just so cool to me.
It's cool.
That's real. So the concept here of this group, they wanted to challenge the Seljuk Turks, who were Sunni Muslims. So we're talking about Shia and Sunni conflicts back in, what did we say? The 1090 CE to 1275 CE. The Sunni Muslims, these Seljuk Turks, they were in control of Persia at this time when this group was organized for these purposes. And this is when the group first became known as the Hashashin. Another cool word here. But today they're better known as assassins. It's a term that was given to them by the European Crusaders who were rolling through and, doing their thing. Those
Look
Crusaders.
at what Europeans just making language work for them,
It gets really popular and mischaracterized in Western Europe thanks to one of the best-selling books of the medieval era, The Travels of Marco Polo. This book alone spreads so many claims about the order, and if we read it through the lens of the modern day, it sounds like Marco is telling us the assassins are a cult. There's this idea that the elder, the old man in the mountain, starting with Hassan himself, has been brainwashing his followers, has been doping them with some sort of substance. Again, we don't know the exact nature of that substance, but hashishim, assassins, hashish, the rumor is, or at least what he says in the book, is that the old man of the mountain is giving his followers a drugged potion during their training, right? And this is breaking down the usual human moral qualms with things like assassination. And then before he sets them off on an assassination mission, he gives them some version of this again. So it has a lot in common, if you think about it, with reports of like Manchurian candidates, people who are through systematic psychological tactics and through the ingestion of substance, they're turned into zombies, torpedoes.
Here's the deal. Are we saying we think, at least according to that book, we think it might be hashish? Is that, and that is cannabis and weed, right?
Mm-hmm. It's basically like, it's the stuff that's the sticky crystal stuff that sticks to the outside of cannabis when it's cured. You can shake it off and you essentially make it into, like, you press it and make it into a resinous kind of material that is able to be smoked. So I've heard.
But we're saying, or the Travels of Marco Polo is saying that that's the substance that made them in some way become a Manchurian candidate. Like, went out of their minds a bit, and then
it's like reefer madness.
And then,
It's interesting though, because so hashishim is the nickname for the sect that was used by a lot of its enemies or in casual conversation about this group. And it was believed to have derived from the Arabic word hashish. So naturally, you can see how that didn't come directly from Marco Polo's book. That was already around.
Okay.
But when Marco Polo mentioned this drugged potion, it cemented the image of this order in the zeitgeist of the time. So they were like, these are shadowy, drug-crazed fanatics. They may have powers that the average undrugged human being doesn't have. You know what I mean? And to a degree, psychologically, that might be accurate. But you could say that about any number of groups who institute systemized suicide attacks.
Wow. Hey, man, look, we're all the same, but I just got to assassinate you, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Here, hit this first. It'll make you way more chill.
Exactly.
Way more crazed and assassiny.
So if this is true, think about it. If this is true, it boggles the mind. How is this not brought up more often, especially during these moral panics? I love that you mentioned reefer madness, Noel, because if this is true, it's one of the best PSAs against the use of cannabis in human history, right? Like, smoke a joint and then go kill the king.
Turn into a mindless murder machine. Yeah.
Right. And I love that rhymes. Thank you. There's a reason. I guess there's one reason that this didn't show up in a lot of PSAs. Well, first, most people wouldn't be familiar with this story. But secondly, it turns out that Marco Polo is the primary propagator for this hash claim. If you look at the sources from the Islamic world, even among the assassins' enemies, even among the Seljuks and the Syrians who hated them, they don't really mention the use of hashish. So maybe a more convincing explanation for that nickname comes from the Egyptian Arabic word hashashin. And that means something totally different. It's a little silly. It means like noisy people or the troublemakers.